Okay, I'd like to call the regular meeting to order. Cheryl, would you give roll call, please?
Chairman Beniak.
Here.
Legislator Duchessis.
Here.
Legislator Wheeler. Legislator Isabel.
Here.
Legislator Patel.
Present.
Legislator Kelly. Legislator Quackenbush.
Present.
Legislator Diamond.
Here.
Legislator Whites.
Present.
Okay, can we stand to salute the flag? I'll read. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Okay, thank you. Now? Okay, I'm going to need a motion to add resolution 160 to the agenda and suspend the rules.
What is 160?
You should have a copy.
It is resolution scheduling the public hearings for the tentative budget.
Oh, I'll motion.
Okay, can I have a second? Bob? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Abstain. Thank you. Moving on, public comment? Toga? Hi.
I just wanted to give a little update on land bank effort. I know some of us have been on the email chains. I have a couple of things quickly I wanted to show you, and I know you have a lot on your agenda tonight. Megan and I have been working on trying to get the attorneys together so we can discuss, or they can discuss the IMA and the other issues that have been brought up. We had a meeting today, and Herkimer County has put together like an intake form for potential projects because we've been calling the funding cycle for the land bank has been pushed back for us, but they are looking to move very quickly if and when we move on it. So what we've asked is for different, each of the FGUs to put together project lists. So this is Otsego County, the city of Rome has put together a project list. We have this form which I've been distributing. So what we've been asking everybody is even if, while we're working on the track of moving the resolution forward, we should also be thinking about projects and things like that. So that if and when it does pass, we don't have to start over then and try to figure out projects. So that's something to consider. And lastly, next Tuesday, I don't know, probably most of you have gotten this, but the Herkimer County IDA is doing a presentation on blight and the land bank effort. And so we're going to be talking about land banks, like how they work, what the mechanisms are, and also Mark Domenico, who some of you might know from the city of Rome, who came on board 15 years ago and took them from a auction process, much like we did in Montgomery County, to move it to outcomes-based, which is, I know, something, Megan, you've also been looking into, but outcomes-based results where they do liens and code enforcement and things like that. Now they don't do an auction anymore, and their outcomes have dramatically improved, where they're getting, projects into the right hands, and people are have benchmarks that they have to meet and stuff like that. So I would say if you can go, I can forward this on to Cheryl to send out to everybody. You probably got it from MVED, they mailed it out, but I think it would be a worthwhile session, and it's Tuesday evening. I don't know if you're meeting 6:30 to 8 in Utica. So, all right. Any questions? I can give you these if you want to. I can send it to you. So you have some.
Tom?
Toga, you talked about putting together the wish list for various groups. Do you have any parameters which if we talk to our community partners and we're out there looking, like, we know something could be not successful, but potentially a successful project for the funding, or something we wouldn't want to, like examples.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's two, things I'll mention. The state has asked, the Attorney General's office has asked that for the first round, we focus on mainly residential. I think they said 80% residential, but they are willing to do some commercial, some funding towards that, because the money is coming from the foreclosure crisis. And the other things that, actually Carl has been huge. He comes to the meetings, and with his experience in Main Street, he's really helped us put together kind of a protocol, and we're really looking at density. So rather than do a project here, a project there, wherever, maybe pick a couple communities, a couple communities and focus on those areas. And one of the kind of drafts we've put together with some areas of Fort Plain that go on Division Street and some of the entrances, just as kind of an illustration, but something like that, where there's an area where you can make an impact where people will say, oh, this is the land bank, as opposed to the kind of a dispersed project all over.
Right?
Chair, I don't think it would be appropriate at this time, but during other, if we could potentially just get an update and have a little discussion on where we're at between, a meeting was held
Sure.
internally, and maybe if Tolga wants to stick around until the end.
Okay.
But just would like to ask that we do that.
Okay, sounds good. All right. The presentations have been canceled, so we'll move on to communications.
The only thing that I gave you guys is the monthly dashboard report from Panadino.
Okay. Everybody's got a copy, I hope. Next is the approval of the minutes. Could I have a sponsor in a second? Bob?
Second.
Tom? Any discussion? Call the vote. All in favor? Against? Abstain. Moving on to budgetary transfers. Could I have a motion and a second?
Yep.
Martin and Tom? Any discussion?
Sure. I'm not sure if it's just my bad luck, but I was not able to open these. I don't know if anybody else had any challenges, but
Geez, I always check them to make sure once they go out to
I
the
tried them
state.
at work today and just now and couldn't open them.
I'll try to make sure the link isn't broke.
All right.
Yeah, cannot be found.
Okay.
I have hard copies if anyone wants to look at them right now.
Do you want to pass them out?
I just have one set. There's the two different reports. Massive, yeah.
This is all. Okay, that's just one
Stay on
copy.
the county website.
Would you like to table this? No? Okay. I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Abstain. Moving on, the acceptance of the procurement record. Can I have a motion and a second? Martin? Roy? Thank you. Any discussion? Call the vote. All in favor? Against? Abstain. Okay, on to old business. I believe we have no old business. And new business would be the resolutions. Resolution 153, bond resolution of the County of Montgomery, New York, the county, dated August 23rd, 2016, authorizing the acquisition and installation of a new central control system for the county's public safety building, estimating the aggregate cost thereof to be $840,000, appropriating said amount therefore and authorizing the issuance of $850,000 serial bonds of the county to finance said costs and related expenses. Sponsors were Isabel and Wheeler. I'll move it to the floor for discussion.
Chair.
Bob?
As you know, you and I had visited the jail with the undersheriff and the sheriff to look at the situation, just to become familiar with it and be able to speak to it. It certainly is a situation that we need to address over there for several reasons. One, the age of the equipment, the reliability of the equipment, the technology, and the condition of it. It's not clear exactly what caused the problem, but it seems to be a situation between, well, what happens is that when you get a power outage, whether it's caused by an electrical storm or the power supplier, you have a battery backup system that takes over for 10 seconds while the generator bypasses to run on generators. All the batteries are old, the equipment is old, the computer equipment that's running the system are from 1998. They look like CPUs that you would have had, back in 1998. The mechanisms and control boards are not functioning as properly as they should. I don't want to get into a lot of discussion about it to expose what the issues can or could be, but I feel comfortable moving forward to support it. The one question was, it's a large amount of money, so I think the discussion is that we looked at providing $900,000 for the roof replacement and capital project, and I think that the idea proposed was to put the roof replacement off for another year or two, and this should take priority over it.
The only question I have is the claim hasn't been filed yet for the insurance. So hasn't been any investigation by the insurance company. So I guess my question is, do we want to bond the whole amount and see what we get, or should we amend this resolution to say that we'll subtract whatever we get from the insurance company from the total that we're going to bond? I was wondering if anybody had some questions on that.
If
Right.
I may, and I might have just missed it if you didn't say it, but if the roof project were to be put off, we've already bonded that. And I'm not sure exactly how it would work with, that money couldn't be repurposed per se. If the bond resolution was for that project, could it be used for this project and then we wouldn't need this resolution at all, or?
Well, I don't think either way with insurance, it's going to cover the whole thing regardless. So I think it's kind of a moot.
Well, okay, but my question is, should we wait to see what the exact cost is, or should we bond it?
As a suggestion, why don't we just say not to exceed?
I think that the point is that right now it's not to exceed $840,000. The opportunity is if you say you got $200,000 from insurance claim, then you would only have to bond, you would have $840,000 that you approved, but only using $640,000. So, with that, if we did do what the chair is speaking, is my understanding correct that when you do something like that and you don't use all the money from the bond, that it comes off the back end of the bond?
Are you saying if we got money from the insurance company to pay for it?
To pay
Well,
for
some of it,
a claim.
Well, if we got money from the claim and we had the bond, you could always put the money to pay off the bond early. I don't believe there's a prepayment penalty, but I don't have the bond documents in front of me either.
Chair. The other opportunity that you might have is that there's some other issues with locking mechanisms that are worn that could use replacement. And, we talked about putting them off into another capital project in the future years. Maybe that's an opportunity to take care of some of that.
Yeah. So maybe I'll speak on that. This locking system, this covers the software, so the brains behind the system. Now, each individual door in that jail has a mechanism to lock, and those are old. They're close to 20 years old, and those they're predicting should be replaced too. So also the mechanics in the doors down the road should be replaced. So what you're saying is, if we do have money left over from the bond to put it towards the mechanical parts?
It might be a good opportunity just to go a little further to what you said. The locking mechanisms that we have that are electric are now electronic with an override of a key. I mean, the ones that we're using are A series. They're already up to F series in the technology. So that just gives you an idea of what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
For Megan, if we're bonding for something specific in the resolution, wouldn't we have to change that title to say it in anything else, or how you would say that? Otherwise, aren't you kind of...
You should use the proceeds of the bond should be for the purpose that we state.
Exactly.
It's quite clear.
Right.
Right.
And I think that if we get off, even though it's part of it, it's not what this is saying. Unless I'm wrong, maybe it is.
I think we're torturing something here that doesn't need to be discussed further. Really. We're borrowing for this specific purpose. That's it.
I think at this point, if you are, I think that this has been identified as a need that needs to be taken care of. I think if the bond resolution as it is altered in any way, you could potentially jeopardize the project in case, if we don't get the money that comes through from insurance, at least we know we can take care of it. And
When will you get the answer from the insurance company? Yeah.
Well, they haven't filed the claim yet.
I mean, let's say we didn't bond until we found that out.
We could.
I mean, is it going to take that long to find out?
I think it would be. I think this is something that needs some quick action.
Mr. Chair and council, either one of you can answer this. So if we just left it the way it is and we bonded for $840,000, say that we did get an insurance settlement of $200,000, that would go into the general fund, I would assume?
Insurance payments would go into, they would go in the general fund?
So at that time, we could take and possibly use that money for the other work that we're talking about.
That's true too.
Okay. Any more discussion? I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Abstain.
Pass.
Okay, moving on. Resolution 154, resolution amending the 2016 operating budget, history and archives. Whites and Wheeler were the sponsors. Move it to the floor for discussion. Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Abstain.
Pass.
Resolution 155, resolution authorizing Montgomery County Treasurer to carry out the journal entries in relation to the revolving loan fund, economic development and planning. Sponsors were Diamond and Quackenbush. Move it to the floor for discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Abstain.
Pass.
Resolution 156, resolution amending the 2016 operating budget mental health. Sponsors were Diamond and Wheeler. Move it to the floor for discussion. Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Abstain.
Pass.
Resolution 157, resolution amending the budget with forfeiture monies, district attorney. Sponsors were Wheeler and Patel. Move it to the floor for discussion. Hearing none, call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Abstain.
Pass.
Resolution 158, resolution approving the abstracts of audited claims, county legislature. Wheeler and Patel were the sponsors. Move it to the floor for discussion. Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Abstain.
Pass.
Resolution 159, resolution authorizing the county executive to sign power purchase agreement with Socure Core Energy. Sponsors were Wheeler and Patel. Move it to the floor.
I'd like to pull my second on that.
Okay. Does anybody want to pick up the second on that resolution?
I'd like to pick it up just for a quick question.
Okay.
Is there a particular reason that we can discuss now that the respondent was not here to present this evening?
I can handle that, Chair, if you'd like.
Sure.
There was some erroneous figures or miscalculations in what they presented. And the county found those and asked for them to be corrected, and at this point, they're not the numbers.
All right, okay, I'll pull my second.
Does anybody wish to sponsor or second? Hearing none, and the resolution dies. Moving on to resolution 160, resolution establishing the public hearing on the 2017 tentative budget. Have a sponsor and a second.
Sponsor.
Martin and Tom. Any discussion? Hearing none. Do we have time?
You all have dates. I'm going to send tomorrow another list with the changes for that September 6th. But the public hearings are, the first one is September 13th at 5:55 p.m. and the second one is September 27th at 6:55.
Yeah, Brian, we changed the September 6th time.
It looks like the resolution says the Tuesday, September 27th one is 5:55.
Yes, that's correct. Wait, which
Just-
time? Okay. No, September 27th should be at 6:55. Can we just change that, Megan, to reflect the resolution?
Sponsor in the second to make an amendment.
I sponsor.
Okay. All in favor?
Who seconded, I'm sorry.
Against? Abstain.
So all the times are after.
Should be the first one was right.
We got to vote on the resolution and amend it.
Okay, so I'll call the vote on the resolution as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Abstain. Are we all set?
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
So on to other. Megan, would you care to speak about our land bank meeting?
Sure.
Okay.
So we had a meeting recently to discuss the IMA. And sit down with a couple members of the legislature to go over IMA page by page, discuss any concerns, any thoughts on revisions, get feedback from the county executive, and we kind of came up with a working draft. And it's my understanding that there is a meeting that is going to be set up with all the county attorneys. And I had a phone call today from Park River County attorney to discuss some of the changes. So it looks like things are moving forward. I don't have a meeting date yet, but I'm sure that'll be soon.
We had a meeting today, so I wanted to get them to go back and let their, because we haven't spoken to all the attorneys yet, so we'll probably do like a doodle poll or something like that.
What is that? I have no idea what a doodle poll is.
Online meeting.
Figure out
Oh,
how to
okay.
work for everyone.
Right.
Just, I know we have the memo from the county executive, the draft of the kind of clarification comments, et cetera, whether it be in, is that something that can be provided to the legislature to take a look at
Sure.
from an internal memo or something?
Sure, any feedback or anything like
Okay,
that.
great,
that
thank you.
guys have. Most definitely.
And I think I just want to summarize that we all did feel that this is going to be quite extensive, the land bank, and to have this regional land bank to operate. And then we also, we feel that each board member, that's a key position, so we certainly have to put the right person on the board. So, anybody else?
Well, there's one other thing. I think one of the outstanding issues that remains to be resolved is that once we get some of our issues addressed, how do we come about an intermunicipal agreement whereby everybody is signing off on the same agreement instead of just editing portions to suit themselves? That's what we're trying to overcome here. I think that's the obstacle.
True. Yeah,
Okay.
good point.
And we decided, we met with Carl as a follow-up last week and then reiterated today that we're going to hold off on, passing any more because, we want to agree. But I just want to also address that some of the changes, like, for example, we had the terrible passing of Julius in Johnstown. So he was he was their representative. So some things are just, unavoidable. Cooperstown or Otsego County changed one of their reps. So, we did go in, understanding that there would be some reconciliation, but everybody wants to get to the same document. So,
Right.
I'd just say, I'm glad to hear that it's moving forward and look forward to hearing more next month and hopefully voting on it when
Down the road.
consensus can be had or the closest thing there to.
Well, I think the general direction here is that we want to participate, but we just need to have some of these concerns addressed.
So, if that's it, a motion to adjourn? Bob? Tom second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.